Well, you've taken the first step by taking a decision that you want to prepare for CAT 2026. So that's the first step done. Now let's talk about how your whole journey from here onwards till CAT will look like. What should be your weekly or your daily targets? What should you be studying on a regular basis? When will your syllabus get completed? When do you start taking tests? Do you wait for the syllabus completely to get over before you start taking tests, or do you start taking tests in between? All these questions I will talk about in three phases of your whole preparation. So the three phases will start, say, somewhere in Jan end from here onwards till approximately May, June. Then the next phase up till October, that is September end, you will have the second phase. And then the last phase, that is October and November, which will also be a very, very crucial phase. Remember, each phase is important in its own way. There is no phase which is more important or less important. I would say every phase is important, because if you do things well in the first and second phase, only then you can do well in the third phase. Okay, so let's have a look at how do we expect you to start looking at it. So first is constant practice, coming in daily and showing up and practicing on a regular basis. So that's your phase one. So if you look over here, which we have phase one, the constant targets, Jan to June. Okay, so we have the CAT daily target over here, where we keep putting up questions on a daily basis. What else do we expect you to do? You know, we break for non-working professionals first. We've broken it up into the morning, afternoon, and evening part. How do they go about these things? So if you're, say, doing VARC in the morning, you do VARC essentials, vocab videos, articles, and RCs in the morning part. Solves RCs from iQuanta assignments, books, and IM ABC batch. That will be your CAT daily target in the morning, right? Now, LRDI essential videos. Let's look at the afternoon part. We have the LRDI essential videos, where you start getting used to LRDI initially. Daily LRDI targets from iQuanta, assignments, books, and again, IM ABC batch. You will have lot of DI and LR sets over there. Attend iQuanta practice sessions at 1:30 p.m. So here we have a practice session at 1:30 where we will do questions from the previous day's sessions and so on. And evening, obviously, for Quant, we have the non-engineers Quant videos, solve Quant questions from iQuanta assignments, books, IM ABC batch, everything. So we've broken up your day into three parts: morning, afternoon, evening. Then you have your lectures in the evening, 7 to 9, which will be 4 to 5 days a week. The schedule of which is there below. Obviously, we will also be giving you this whole sheet so you can plan it how you are doing and so on. So remember, you know, it's not about only about doing everything over here. I understand that when somebody will look at this and will say, feel very overwhelmed that, oh, how will I do everything? My whole point is that even if you start doing 80% of this, you will do much, much better. And students who are not iQuanta students want to have a look at what's their flow, how would the flow be of studies. They can also use this. But for the iQuanta students, we also have post the 7 to 9 lecture, which will be 4 to 5 days a week. Then you'll have the assignment classes, which will be 6 days a week, which will talk about revision from all these chapters which you have finished. So understand that if you're doing this on a regular basis, where we are talking about class, assignment class, the practice, every session is planned, so that you don't really have to think, okay, what should I do today? If you have that plan in your mind ready for a weekly, week by week basis, it becomes much easier for you. So let's look at week 1 to 4, week 1 to 4. So if I look at VARC, you have some basics of RC, types of different part 1 and part 2, different types of questions, process of elimination method. Then LRDI, maybe do linear arrangements and circular arrangements in the first 1 month, first 4 weeks. Quant, we finished number systems completely in the first 4 weeks, where we talk about classification of numbers, divisibility, last digit, factorial, HCF, LCM. All these topics get completed more or less in the first 4 weeks. So that's your agenda for the first 4 weeks, where you will practice also rigorously on a regular basis, attend the assignment classes also beyond your live classes. Now, month 2, which will be your next 4 weeks of March, where if I look at Quant, we more or less, not completely, but we more or less finish arithmetic. Arithmetic would have started in the first month also, like percentage and profit and loss has started in the first month, and then it continues towards the second month. And in fact, it will go on to the third one, because arithmetic being the most important areas, while DILR will keep continuing with different things. There'll be ranking and order selection, binary logic, caselets, all these things will keep coming up. So DLR and verbal will be an ongoing thing where you keep practicing on a regular basis. Don't really, DLR and verbal will go that way, that you keep practicing on a regular basis. Keep solving your 3 to 4 sets of on a daily basis. Same way, solve a couple of RCs every day. That really improves your focus. Now, let's look at the third month and the next 4 weeks. Here we finish arithmetic in quant and move on to a little bit of algebra. This I would say will be the basics of algebra: linear, quadratic, indices and surds, all that thing will be done. LRDI, a very important area, will come in. Venn diagram of different types will be done over here. So all these things, and verbal may you'll be starting critical reasoning, conclusion, assumption, and assumptions, and all those areas will start in the month of April, or will get done by the month of April. So by the month of April, if you look at quant, you finish nearly 2.5 modules properly. You finish numbers, you finish a major part of arithmetic, which means a huge part of your syllabus arithmetic is being done, and you've done somewhat algebra. So obviously this will be your core of the your syllabus. And obviously we'll go ahead in the next month where we'll do geometry again. Geometry, you always find 3 or 4 questions in CAT. Every year that they keep testing you, sometimes they ask you a little bit more geometry, sometimes less geometry, but it is an important area. You can't really skip it. In LRDI, you'll come across a very important area of games and tournaments, scheduling, routes and network, and so on. Critical reasoning continues in verbal, and that becomes the base of your summary questions, and all those questions, all those areas will help you in RCs also again. That is completely. And in algebra, in algebra, we will continue with sequence series, logarithms, inequalities, all. Logarithm being a very important topic, inequalities being very important. So all these things will get done till week 23. You can see, this, as I said, this will be given to you. This will be more or less your flow till the end of your end of June. Now, remember, with this, your daily practice has to continue. You cannot say, okay, I will relax a little bit, and hence what will keep happening, things will keep piling up. As soon as you skip a few days, things keep piling up. Okay, I'm sure a lot of working professionals have a query, sir, how do we manage this? Well, for you, the managing is going to be very important, is going to be the weekend part. You'll have to learn to manage on the weekends. Once you know that your weekend, you're working on weekdays, yes, you'll have to remove some time in the morning, in the evening time for lectures and assignment classes, all that will be done. But the weekend will be the biggest crux of your study part. All what the college students or the non-working professionals are doing on weekdays in the afternoon and morning, you will have to take up all that and do it on your Saturday, Sundays, all the national holidays which India has, the so many national holidays we have, or take all use of all those, all your sick leaves, privilege leaves, everything, and study really, really hard over here. Okay, so that is more or less phase one. Yes, in phase one, if you also look, somewhere in April, you will also begin your iCats, that is your mock test series. You'll start the basics of, you'll start with a beginner's iCat, as we say. The initial ones are very easy to just let you get into a flow. They're not made very difficult so that you get into flow. And you will start writing a few unproctored tests also, few proctored tests also. You will start looking at the video solutions of these tests, which will be created by us, and hence you will start learning how to solve these questions in a better way. Obviously, do the analysis of these mocks, which will be more important in the part. But roughly by week 23, when your syllabus ends, you would have written around 4 to 5, 3 to 4 proctored tests, couple of unproctored tests, and many sectional tests. That's how should be your aim by June. Now, come to the second phase, which will be very important again in terms of how your mocks have to be written. So obviously your practice part continues as it is. You don't change much over there. Everything what you had planned for practice will remain as it is. What you really need to now focus is in your mocks. Now remember, when you're doing your mocks, with the mocks, you need to keep revising. I'll tell you what is that. So for example, you can see the flow of your mocks till ICAT 14 is September roughly. You have sectional tests available over there. So many different sectional tests, unproctored mocks are available. Now, how to analyze the mocks at that time? Obviously, at that time, we'll look at every single mock and how to analyze it and how would a topper attempt it. All those discussions will happen later. But when you write a full-length mock, you open the mock-cat analysis, you open your ICAT mock analysis, identify your top five weakest areas. Suppose you feel that, oh, I'm normally do well at permutation, I'm good at permutation combination, but when you start looking at the mock test and you start looking at the scores, you realize, oh, you're not doing so well. Then you need to improve on that. You need to go back to the drawing board, revise questions from that chapter, maybe 40-50 questions, and then you will see some improvement in the next mock. Keep doing that until and unless you really have cleared that area. As I've always said, writing mocks will never improve your scores. Analyzing them and working on them is what is very important, which will improve your scores. So please always remember, you have enough material to fall back on: the IMABC batch material, the assignments and books, practice sessions, and these mocks itself will give you so many questions, maybe some extra generated questions with the mock analysis solutions that time. All these things will really, really help you. Okay, so phase two is mocks. Now, I've seen a lot of students shying away from writing mocks. They don't take them till they feel confident. Now, that's a real, it's like, I don't know swimming because I'm scared of the water. I'm scared of the water because I don't know swimming. It's a catch-22 situation. You can't just sit on the outside and learn swimming. Same way, you can't just do well at CAT by just saying, okay, I won't write mocks because I'm scared of them. You will have to start writing them more seriously, and that's how your improvement will happen. You will actually start seeing improvement. Yes, first few mocks you will not maybe see improvement, but as you go ahead, the improvement will definitely happen. Phase 3 becomes an important phase where we actually look at completing the remaining mocks, 6-7 mocks which are there in the last 2 months, with a few proctored, unproctored, sectional tests. But now comes the very, very important part: your crash course or your revision, where we have the booster sessions, the masterclass sessions, everything, or the marathon sessions. All these sessions will happen on each topic by topic, conducted especially with higher difficulty level questions, which will help you take you to the higher nine. See, every phase takes you to a particular level. If you have completed phase 1 well, you can go to around 85 percentile. If you do phase 2 well, you can reach around 95 percentile. And then when you do phase 3 well, is where it will take you from the 9 to 99 and maybe even the 100 percentile. So that's how you look at the whole thing, that always look at the last few months. And this last few months is even for the working professionals. They will have to take a call. I'm sure a lot of people keep writing to us at that time, sir, is it a good time for me to leave my job or take a sabbatical? Yes, if you have a chance to take a sabbatical, it's a great time to take a, say, 2 months unpaid leave also, and study seriously towards CAT, so that normally that if you give that push for last 2 months, it will really improve your score. It can take you to the higher 99s also. So that's how I would look at my practices. Even in the phase 2, you had your engineers VARC video, RC practice, the LRDI inception videos. All these things will be available for you. Now, see, if you look at this Sol 2x engineers VARC videos, RC practices, assignments, LRDI inception videos, now where you see higher level CAT level sets, which we have so many, and we're creating more on a regular basis to keep adding on to your for you for practice. So if you do all these things very carefully at every level, I'm sure you will start. And remember, at each of these levels, you have help from the mentors to come back, ask them wherever you're struggling, for whatever reason you're not doing well or you're not able to cope up. You will always have the help of mentors who are available for you. Also, remember one more thing, you always plan ahead for things. So for example, that suppose you're in the final year and in April you have a exam coming up. So please plan for those 15 days. You might be missing classes for 15 days or 10 days or whatever that is. Then plan for that. Okay, maybe I'm not going to be able to study for those 10-15 days for CAT because I have my college studies. Say same way a working professional, suppose he has a work trip where he has to go for a work trip, and 10-15 days he's going to miss something. So he or she should plan those things well before that. After that, put in those extra hours and complete everything. Remember, if you're going to take CAT very lightly and say, okay, dekhenge with everything else, hoga to theek hai, then it will never happen. Only if you really take it seriously, look at all the 3 phases very, very seriously, only then it will happen. And always remember, we at iQuanta are always there to look after you, always there to help you. Any queries which you have, you can always come back and ask us. As far as we have always mentioned, the full length mocks, we're going to really take that extra mile this year to create very good quality mocks so that you have enough practice and you have a very good benchmarking with thousands of students who will be writing these mocks. Okay, so with that, I would come to the end of this video. As I said, for working professionals, my query will always be, please make use of your weekends really well and all the extra holidays. Don't get carried. It is great to have a good working culture and work very hard at office, but sometimes you'll have to plan your work in such a way that you do not the cat studies do not get disturbed too much. And same goes for college professionals. Study hard for college because your scores there will also matter. I'm not saying that you should not study, but you'll need to balance both the sides really well. Well, with that, we come to the end of this video. Thank you. I hope you download this sheet, and maybe on a regular basis, you can just maintain next to that sheet only how much have you completed from whatever is planned. So week one, whatever is planned, have you also completed your work with that, whatever we have provided you in terms of live class, assignment class, the afternoon practice sessions, all those things that we have provided, and have you attended most of them? Have you completed them? So if you have a method by which you can just keep noting things that yes, I have done this, I have done this, then you will really do well, because then you know what you're missing out, and then how much time more will you require to finish those things. Thank you. If you have any queries, please let us know. We are happy to help.